it's devastating. And I spoke with President Trump earlier, and what I'm telling him every time I talk to him is he is a hero for America. He's a champion because he's the only one standing up against
How incredible is it when he says, I'm ready to go to jail for this country? I mean, it's so powerful.
It is overwhelming. It makes you feel emotional when you hear him say that, because he is telling the truth and he means it. When he says he's willing to go to jail, he's willing to lose anything to save this country. And Alex, I have to tell you something. I don't know anyone else that's willing to do that.
I think a lot of us are willing for Donald Trump to go to jail in order to save this country. But of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene means it slightly differently. What she was talking about there, she was talking about a judge's order to essentially gag Donald Trump, to keep him from saying certain things. Trump is facing multiple gag orders in a couple of his criminal cases. The one that Greene was referring to is the one that the federal judge Tanya Chutkan invoked on Monday. This is the federal case involving the 2020 election with Donald Trump on January 6th. The gag order there bars Donald Trump from attacking witnesses, prosecutors, court staff involved in the criminal case. Here's the readout from Politico. Complying with Chutkan's order will require a significant shift in Trump's public demeanor. He routinely uses his social media megaphone and rally speeches to assault his lead federal prosecutor, Special Counsel Jack Smith, as deranged. Trump also has taken to branding the lawyer working under Smith as thugs. Those comments, Chutkan said, risk poisoning the proceedings. Politico continues. Trump, who opted to campaign in Iowa rather than attend the gag hearing on Monday, has also in recent weeks pointedly attacked several known witnesses in the case. He suggested that one of them, retired General Mark Milley, would have warranted the death penalty in another era. And Trump has repeatedly blasted another witness, former Attorney General Bill Barr. And Donald Trump has showed no signs of stopping, calling out Judge Chutkan during a campaign rally in Iowa Monday after the gag order was issued. Watch.
And they're getting beaten very badly by me in the polls. They think the only way they can catch me is to stop me from speaking. They want to take away my voice. And a judge gave a gag order today. Did you hear that on speech? Which I believe is totally unconstitutional what she did. A judge gave a gag order. A judge doesn't like me too much. Her whole life is not liking me. But she gave a gag order. You know what a gag order is? You can't speak badly about your opponent. But this is weaponry all being done because Joe Biden is losing the election and losing very, very badly to all of us in the polls. He's losing badly. But what they don't understand is that I am willing to go to jail if that's what it takes for our country to win and become a democracy again.
Here, go to jail. And by the way, Donald Trump's gag order does not prevent him from saying things about his opponents or the campaign or even necessarily about his criminal case. He just can't get about personal information or make personally disparaging remarks about the judge, the prosecutors, witnesses, or courtroom staff. He can say whatever he wants about his campaign. But this is the second time that Donald Trump has been ordered to essentially limit what he says about some of the criminal cases. And because Donald Trump is Trump and too stupid to acknowledge anything he does is wrong, he might be facing some consequences in this second gag order. The judge presiding over Donald Trump's $250 million fraud trial in New York raised the possibility on Friday of putting the former president in prison after Trump failed to comply with a partial gag order requiring him to remove a post trashing the judge's law clerk on social media. Judge Arthur Engoron said in a court on Friday morning that Trump had posted on social media account an untrue and disparaging post about my clerk, and that Trump spoke to the judge spoke to the former president about this matter a couple of weeks ago. The post involved a name, photo, and private Instagram account of Judge Arthur Engoron's personal law clerk. It referred to her as Chuck Schumer's girlfriend because she posed with Senator Schumer in a photo. And Donald Trump blasted the image out to his email network with the subject, "Truth from President Donald Trump." Well, Judge Arthur Engoron, as reported by NBC News, quote, "I ordered him to remove the post immediately," and he said he did take it down. Despite this order, last night, I learned the offending post was never removed from a campaign website. This is a blatant violation of the gag order. I made it clear that failure to comply will result in serious sanctions. Engoron said that the post remained on the president's campaign website for 17 days and was only removed late Thursday night after the court notified the Trump campaign about it. This is despite, of course, the gag order being put in place earlier in the month. Again, Judge Arthur Engoron considered a untruth can and have led to serious physical harm. I will not allow the defendant to explain why they should end up with serious sanctions. I could possibly imprison him. Donald Trump's defense lawyer this morning tried to do some damage control. He said, quote, the Truth Social post was taken down when the court asked. Truth Social was taken down, and Trump never made any more comments about court staff, but it appears no one took it down on the campaign website. It is unfortunate, and I apologize on behalf of my client. Well, several hours after this happened Friday morning with the plea for mercy, essentially from Donald Trump's lawyer, the judge came back with a ruling fining Donald Trump $5,000. The judge says the reason this number was small was because this was a first-time violation of the judge's gag order. But again, the judge raised the possibility on this day, Cenk, that if Donald Trump continues to do this, it is within the judge's power to jail Donald Trump pre-trial. Thoughts?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to go back to Trump's speech that we showed there a little bit. David's, of course, right about all the things that he corrected Trump on, but I was amused by two of the things that he said. Her whole life is about hating me. You think so? You think that her whole life she'd been planning to hate you because she knew she was going to get this trial and she was just building up to it when you were a real estate dude and stuff? He says these things that are so hilariously bizarre. And his opponents are like, oh yeah, I bet her whole life's about that. And then he said, the gag order says you can't speak about your opponent. No, it doesn't. It doesn't say that at all. In fact, it specifically said, this does not apply to Biden or anyone you're running against in that regard. It applies to these specific, it doesn't even apply to the judge. So, all right, now in terms of Marjorie Taylor Greene, that was hilarious. Like, Donald Trump, he's so selfless. Yeah, that's who Donald Trump is. If you ask me to name one selfless guy in America, Donald Trump really jumps into my head as the one guy I would never name. It's like the most narcissistic, selfish man in American history. Look, you give him an actual, like he's in a room, God is talking to him, you're gonna go to jail, Donald Trump, or literally everyone else in the country is gonna go to jail, he would pick everyone else so quick. He wouldn't break a sweat. It wouldn't take a second to be like, what am I, a sucker or a loser? No, I make you suckers and losers go to jail instead of me. The whole thing has been about, don't send me to jail. It's a witch hunt, it's a witch hunt. Now that bitch is going around saying, I'll go to jail, all right. Sure, brother, sure. But he doesn't really think he's gonna go to jail. That's why he's so freaked out about the New York fraud trial, because that's gonna cost him a lot of money. If it actually costs him the $250 million that their prosecutors are asking for, I don't think he has $250 million. And then they'd have to foreclose on Mar-a-Lago and other places. Good news, because Donald Trump says Mar-a-Lago's worth at least 1.5 or maybe $1.8 billion. And the reality is, of course, it's worth nothing along those lines. Close, like 1 to 5% of that number, right? So he's worried about being humiliated. And that's why he can't help himself. And look, there's so much more to get to, but I'll say one more thing for now. So when you're looking at Trump making these mistakes, like why did he leave up the thing that about the staffer of the judge? Was he trying to aggravate the judge? No, in that case he wasn't. It's because he's deeply incompetent. Like if you tell Trump do X, he just literally can't even do it. He doesn't know how. That's why he went bankrupt 6 times. He's a serial bungler. So he's like, did we take it down? Oh, I forgot to tell somebody to take it down. Okay, look, guys, to give you a sense of what a bungler he is, that New York fraud trial, the one that could cost him $250 million, he came out and was, after the first set of hearings, it was like, this is so unfair, it's unconstitutional not to get a jury trial. Why aren't I getting a jury trial? You know why? Because he didn't ask for one. MAGA, this is your big, like, so strong manager, competent, good businessman. Really? I prefer businessmen who don't go broke. Jordan.
I think part of it is that he's incompetent, but I also think it reflects how he has seen the legal system and how it will treat him and other people in his position. They don't face any accountability. they never really face any repercussions for their actions. And for Trump specifically, he and his cronies have gotten away with, for years, bullying, intimidating anybody who could be in a position to hold him accountable. So I think that that's part of it, in addition to him being inept. But really the funny part is he just can't stop posting. And we all know somebody. I might be sitting next to somebody who maybe shouldn't tweet as much, but
don't say that about David. That's not fair. He's on with us.
Well, look, it's one thing. It's one thing to simply forget. Oh, I also put this up on my campaign website, which apparently he did. So maybe he gets off on that. But he was actually taking this and fundraising off of it, and that's just the New York case. And then, oh, by the way, he's blasting the judge's order, Judge Chutkan's in the Washington case, the same day that she imposed the gag order, and he's getting it wrong what the gag order is. I mean, it's almost like he's daring the courts to go ahead and put him in jail so that Donald Trump can then get more sympathy, and he knows it'll rev up his base.
Yeah, so again, I refuse to believe that Donald Trump has any strategy ever. I'm not sure you can connect two thoughts together, but his main strength, and we have talked that he does have one strength, right? We're always honest and fair, but is also his weakness in this particular case. Why? His strength is run towards the cameras and then just say everything. It doesn't matter, whatever comes to the top of your head, just say it. No, immigrants are dirty, rapists, criminals. Did that work? Did that work? Oh yeah, that worked, yes, okay. The judge, I hate her, she's been hating me my whole life, okay, or in her whole life. Did that work? Did that work, right? So, and that works overall in politics, unfortunately, because politics is all about media and marketing. So he's constantly putting the message out there, and others that are opposed to him in the Republican or Democratic Party don't. And they think it's super classy to never say your message or say it in a super boring way, right? So that's, in a sense, I'm not gonna say a superpower because he has there's no superpower should be associated with Donald Trump, and two, it's an annoying thing to say about anyone. Okay, but that's his one thing that he's good at, but its downside is, hey, Donald, don't say pink elephant, right? So when you give him a gag order, there's like nothing in the world can gag Donald Trump. He makes us all gag, but for him, there is no gagging. So I've said this a billion times, he has verbal diarrhea. And to be fair to him, it's a chronic condition and he can't fix it.
I'm with you. And the other part about this that I love that there's Marjorie Taylor Greene praising Donald Trump, that yeah, Donald Trump's willing to go to jail to save our democracy. Really? Oh my God, I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes, please save our democracy. Donald Trump going to jail, being taken out of the scene, having his freedom taken away, I actually do think that would help our democracy, because it would show a lot of Donald Trump supporters that this guy has broken the law repeatedly and deserves to be taken away. And maybe that might finally get some of them to start thinking about another Republican. So yeah, go ahead. Take him off the scene, go to jail, it'll save our democracy. If Marjorie Taylor Greene wants credit for the idea, we'll give it to her.
Yeah, I think my last point is you've heard that phrase, when a crime is punishable by a fine. For rich people, it's basically not a crime. And we're seeing that here. This $5,000 fine really means nothing to him right now. Certainly he inflates his wealth, but he can afford $5,000. The conditions do seem right though, that he will not learn from this experience. Sure, his lawyer expressed remorse because they have to, but I don't think he's going to stop. And he loves to post, he just is going to what he knows. I think the conditions are right that he can kind of get lured in to actually going to jail. I don't know if it's gonna happen, I'd like it to happen, but it would be extremely funny if he just kept posting his way into jail.
Well, I could see him being like, I did it again, why? The judge said it was fine. No, Donald, they fined you. That's not the same thing. He said it was fine. He said fine many times. Okay, look, guys. Whether it's Cheesebro turning on him and Sidney Powell turning him on him in the other case, or this case where he's already lost. The only question on the fraud trial case is how much money he's going to lose and how devastating that impact is going to be for him financially. But for the first time in a long time, the tables are beginning to turn, and Trump is in a little bit of trouble in the court system. That's real, because putting the former president in jail is going to be a hell of a thing with appeals, etc., right? But money's money, and if he has to pay a $250 million fine, Don't ask him if he's all right, dog. He's hurt. So we'll see how that develops. Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below, because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.